The 2025 NBA Finals are here, and we've got a really unique matchup, and I'm so excited because there's going to be a new champion in the NBA for the first time between the OKC Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. One of these teams will win it for the first time in franchise history. They've been waiting a long time, both the team and the fan bases, to try and win this NBA title, and they're going to have a shot of winning it this year. One of these teams will host it for the first time, and they both had remarkable histories. Oklahoma City, with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook in Indiana, go back to Reggie Miller and those great days in the 90s for them. Now with Tyrese Halliburton and gilgeous-alexander leading the way, we're going to have a new champ, and that's what you love to see, new teams winning. And for Indiana, this is just their second ever finals appearance, their first since 2000. It's been 25 years since they've made it, and they're led by Tyrese Halliburton, the all-star, who has turned into a full-on superstar now. Everyone knows who Tyrese Halliburton is now, even if you didn't know he was before. He's just been remarkable. There's been so many clutch performances and games from him this year, shots throughout the regular season, and he's done it throughout the playoffs as well. The Pacers, they've rolled into the finals this year, fourth in the Eastern Conference with a 50-32 record. They won a 5-game first-round series over Milwaukee easily. They then, in an incredible upset series over the number 1 seed Cleveland Cavaliers, they beat Cleveland in 5 games. That was an incredible upset, and that's where everyone started to put Indiana on notice, because that was remarkable to beat the number 1 seed in 5 games, won all 3 road games against Cleveland, and then they beat the New York Knicks in that historic Eastern Conference rivalry in 6 games. They didn't lose any of their road games versus Cleveland, and they've only lost 2 road games. One of them was way back in the first round, and then the other one was in Game 5 when the Knicks were down 3-1. So Indiana has been a great road team. They're 6-2 at home, 6-2 on the road. They've been quite balanced. Meanwhile, when you look at Oklahoma City, they're the number 1 overall seed, and they've won over 60 games this year. Again, they've been absolutely dominant throughout the regular season and throughout the playoffs for the most part. They crushed Memphis in a 4-game series in the first round. Then they beat a really experienced championship-level Nuggets team in 7 games before easily beating the Timberwolves in 5 games and rolled over them to head back to the finals after a really long time. It's been a long time for Oklahoma City as well, since the Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, James Harden days against the Miami Heat. It's been a really long time, over 15 years, and when you look at the Thunder, they've been so dominant at home. It's been a 8-1 home stretch for the Thunder in the playoffs, and they're 4-3 on the road this year. But at home, they've just been crushing everyone who enters for the most part. So when you look at Indiana, that kind of thinks about, hey, maybe if they just take one in Oklahoma City and dominate at home, they might be able to pull this off. And Indiana's been a great road team, so you got to give them a shot for doing that. And I think it's going to be a fun series to watch, and it's going to be close. I don't think there'll be blowouts in this one. And Tyrese Halliburton, he's been one of the most clutch players in the league, and Indiana has won the fourth quarter. They've been such a great fourth quarter team. They're plus 15 in the fourth in Game 2 in Cleveland. And Tyrese has 19 points per game so far in the playoffs with 10 assists, 20.6 rebounds, 10 assists has been his averages roughly in the playoffs. And he had a triple-double game for his historic triple-double game for 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, and 0 turnovers. I believe he was the first player to ever record that stat line. It was historic. He had 31 points and 11 assists in Game 1. Where he had that miraculous shot to tie it into overtime. Then he had 31 points in a closeout Game 5. And then you have, when you look at who he has around him, when you look at Aaron Nesmith, he had 30 points in Game 1 with 8 out of 9 from 3. Miles Turner is there as the center. Pascal Siakam, he was great in the Eastern Conference Finals. He was the MVP of the Eastern Finals. He had 39 in a Game 2 win at Madison Square Garden. And Andrew Nembhard has been really good for them as well. They've been a fun team to watch. I think their key is really just to be shooting well. When they shoot well, over 50% from the field, 40% from 3. They've been a really good shooting team. They have to keep it up in the playoffs, in the finals, if they're going to have any shot of pulling this off. And if they do that and they don't turn the ball over and be smart with it, and they show up in the fourth like they've always been doing, they're definitely going to have a shot to win one in OKC. And then when you look at Oklahoma City, they're going to be a powerhouse, not just this year, but for many years to come. They're probably going to make many finals if they keep this young core of SGA, Chet Holmgren, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Alex Caruso, a really great team. They're the number one defense at home, and then they shoot also as good as Indiana does, 50% overall, 40% from three. But defensively, they're the number one defensive team in the league. They force a ton of steals, the most amount of steals in the NBA. They double the amount of steals that their opponent has, and they force so many turnovers. You look at what they did in Game 7 against Denver. 22 turnovers, 16 steals, and then you add in the 64 points in the paint. They're dominant in whatever they do. They can do all kinds of things to win games, and that's why they're the number one seed, and that's why they've been dominating at so much in so many of these games. They had 14 steals in Game 5 against Minnesota. When they don't do either of those two things, they lose. Like, if they don't shoot well and they don't steal the ball, then they lose. But if they do one or the other, they generally find a way to win. And it all starts with SGA, the 26-year-old MVP from Canada, 7th season. Started with the Clippers, then got traded in the Paul George trade to OKC. Of course, Indiana has also been involved in Paul George trades in the past, so that's why this is the Paul George Finals. On social media. SGA is averaging 33 points per game, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, 52% from the field, 38% from three, and 90% from the free throw line. Of course, he's known as a free throw merchant on social media. He's been so great in terms of drawing fouls and getting to the line and being efficient in that category. And now in the playoffs, he's averaging 30 points per game as well. 7 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 47% from the field, only 30% from three, but he'll make those big threes whenever they need it. SGA has been able to knock down those threes. And then he had 35 points in a Game 7 against Denver with 62% shooting. He had a 40-point Game 4 against Minnesota in the conference finals. 38 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists in Game 2 of the conference finals, and then 34-point close Game 5 against Denver. So he's been showing up big time. Tyrese Halliburton's been showing up big time. Both of them have been clutch. Both these teams shoot well, but of course, Oklahoma City definitely has the edge in some categories. We'll see who comes out on top, but my prediction for this is that the Thunder are going to win it in 6 games. The Pacers, they've been the comeback kings throughout these NBA playoffs. They've been the only team to perform multiple incredible comebacks the way they have. Nobody's ever come back the way they did against the New York Knicks in Game 1 of the conference finals. They've been able to come back from almost anything. With their shooting and their offense, they can definitely keep up to Oklahoma City, especially if they don't turn the ball over. But that OKC defense is on such another level. They're the best in the league. I think the Pacers can win one at OKC, but I do think the Thunder can also steal a road game, and they're so dominant at home. I think the Thunder win this in 6 games. They've been a historically good team this year, and it's going to pay off for the first time NBA title for that franchise. SGA more than likely would win MVP, knowing how critical he is for them on the offensive end, but could be Jalen Williams if he steps up defensively, especially against limiting a guy like Tyrese Halliburton. So I think it'll be a fun series, multiple close games. It won't be blowouts, but I do think the Thunder will win it, and Indiana had a great run to reach this far. So hope you enjoyed. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, comment who you think is going to win the finals, win their first ever trophy, and I'll see you in the next one.